She wakes up laughing and continues shrieking. I'm with Winslow. He doesn't wait any longer. He books
Yeah,
the
dude, it
minute.
takes off.
Yeah, he starts running as fast as he can. Then a little bit of sound design. All we hear is the shrieking combined with the foghorn yet again.
Yeah, that
Fog,
foghorn, dude.
the foghorn never stops for the course of the movie. It
No,
just, keeps
the
blaring.
foghorn is its own character in a way.
Right.
Like it's just constantly there.
Hello, friends. I'm Anderson Marchak.
And I'm Ricardo Segura.
And we are the Panel Bros. Welcome to the panel.
Welcome to the panel. Yeah.
All righty, folks. We are in the middle of our filmography of Robert Eggers.
Oh, yeah.
This is episode 97. So slowly inching towards episode 100. We're going to recap with where we're at and how close we are at the end of the episode, just to let you guys know. But before we get into that, let's get started with our next movie in the filmography.
Yes.
We last left off with The Witch.
Mm-hmm.
So this next one here, as we've already stated, was directed by Robert Eggers. It was released October the 18th of 2019. Today, the Panel Bros are going to be doing a breakdown for The Lighthouse.
Let me just say there, and I said this to you off the air, there is good strange, and this is a strange film.
Oh yeah,
this is a weird movie in the best way. It's a movie where you'll watch it the first time, you feel a certain way, you watch it the fourth time, feel a different way. And I was looking forward to talk about it because I was like, all right, I haven't watched it in a while. So I was like, I wonder what I'm gonna take away this time. And I took away something different. And that's what I like about this movie. As we mentioned before, I like Eggers. I like that he does period pieces. And this one, secluded, just two characters dealing with whatever's going on. And we're just going along for the ride. So this is weirdly, as I mentioned to you before, a comfort movie for me. I can't pinpoint why, but I can put it on. Maybe it's the sound of the ocean waves and the black and white. I don't know. Thunderstorms. I don't know. I just kind of watch and get lost in the sauce.
So I believe I've only seen every Robert Eggers movie once, and it was in the theater for each movie. I may have seen The Witch one other time, but as I was watching it for the last breakdown, I don't recall. So I can't say the same thing as you. So these are just like a refresh for me as far as Eggers movies go. And he's got quite the style, and there's so much that can be interpreted. We're going to get into it, but this one is probably the most strange out of all of his movies, in my opinion.
I would 100% agree that when it comes to being as strange and unique, it is definitely this one. I also like the aspect ratio. He's got the box.
Yeah.
He's got the box, which kind of, even that in itself sets up a different dynamic. You know what I mean? Like that in itself plays into the artistic expression of the movie itself. So again, I like little details like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get started with our plot summary here. Before we get started, the thing we got to put out there is that this movie's in black and white.
Yes.
All black and white, beginning to end. And that may add or take away from the feel of the movie, but we'll get into it as we continue with our breakdown here. So we have our opening scene here. It opens directly with the title card, The Lighthouse. And you hear a foghorn. The fog slowly fades. Then you see the lighthouse. You cut to two sailors on a ship headed towards said lighthouse, and they disembark from the ship as the foghorn continues to blare. This foghorn would continue to be an ongoing theme throughout the movie, just that blaring of the foghorn over and over again. So the first time we see them interact, Pattinson walks into the room to see Defoe's character urinating and openly passing gas. The passing gas part, will also become an ongoing theme in the movie. So that is our opening scene.
I was the first time I saw it, I was like, did he? Okay, all right, we're doing that in this movie, and it's a lot.
Yeah. All righty. So we got our first screen share here. Let's pull this up. What you're seeing is when they make that toast. But
Yeah.
we'll do a little bit of a lead in here. So in the 1890s, we have Ephraim Winslow, played by Robert Pattinson. He begins a 4-week stint as a wickie, a lighthouse keeper, on an isolated island off the coast of New England, under the supervision of former sailor Thomas Wake, played by Willem Dafoe. In his quarters, Winslow discovers a small scrimshaw of a mermaid and keeps it in his jacket. A scrimshaw is a carving, a wood carving. Yeah. Wake immediately proves to be very demanding, subjecting Winslow to taxing jobs such as emptying chamber pots, their toilets basically, maintaining the machinery, carrying heavy kerosene tanks up the stairs, and painting the lighthouse, while barring Winslow from the lantern room. Winslow observes that every night after ascending the lighthouse, Wake disrobes before the light. So let's unpack what we've found out so far and the dynamic in general. I shared the scene of the toast because that's when we first get a glimpse into what this relationship is going to be.
Yep.
So the first time they have dinner, Wake forces Winslow to make a toast. He says to 4 weeks. And Winslow objects because he isn't allowed to drink on duty, something Wake clearly doesn't care about. And let's be honest, would you want the people in charge of the lighthouse inebriated from alcohol?
Drinking and like, right. Not really.
No, absolutely. So Winslow says, I learned it from the manual. Wake says, didn't picture you a reading man. Winslow, I ain't trying for trouble. Wake, then you do as I say. That's in your book too.
Yeah.
So, he's already forcing him to do stuff. And then also the big thing is the mystery of the lantern room. He looks at him and says, out of everything, you need to understand the light is mine.
It's his. Like right off the bat, we got boundaries, and Willem Dafoe's character is putting his foot down, pretty much being like, hey, like, I'm the guy running this show. Right. And already like, it maybe it's too early, but I instantly started feeling that Winslow's character almost had a problem with authority. Right. Like you start to feel it. Like there's like a tension. There's a tension. Like he has this problem with authority, like authority figures. And we'll learn more as the movie goes on. But yeah, you have Wake being like, no, this. And Winslow brings up the lighthouse and he's like, nah, don't. That's mine. And I was just like, that's pretty aggressive. Why so aggressive about the lighthouse? Okay, we'll see.
Right. And so eventually Winslow does the toast, and they toast to 4 weeks. Little did they know this is the last pleasant moment they'll have.
Oh, that's brother.
Last true pleasant moment, because it like goes up and down. So we're gonna get into that there. The next scene here, we have Winslow. He walks out to the beach. He sees someone floating in the ocean. He jumps in to save them, and then you see a screeching mermaid coming towards him. He wakes up as if it's a dream. This is very scary, clearly.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we got another screen share here. There's not too many I could share.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is him walking up. This is him carrying the heavy kerosene. So you see Winslow drag the drum up the steps, and then you see Wake show him the smaller container that he could have used for the kerosene. So you let this poor guy carry these heavy drums all the way up to the top of the lighthouse, and it's not a small structure.
No, not at all.
So he's carrying this all the way up. He said he could have used this to say. Of course, he knew that, but he wants to put him through the ringer. He tells him to drag it back down the steps. But as you can see in the screenshot here, when he gets to the top, he notices, oh, Wake isn't around. I can see what this light thing is about. And he says, he scolds him as he tries to, take a peek at the light. Remember, the light is mine. It ain't yours. So he goes up and then, we move on.
Yep. He made him go. He walked all the way up there. And yeah, like you said, it's not like a few steps, man. This is a roundabout of stairs.
Yeah.
And he gets up there and he's just like, oh, use this. And he holds up this small thing. He goes, now take that big one that you brought away, take it back down.
Terrible.
I'm like, geez almighty. And again, it's just like, man, he's riding this guy. Like, we just started and he's got to do 4 weeks of this. And you're already dreading this entire trip.
Yeah. And this is light. It gets a lot worse.
It's going to get a lot worse.
Yeah. So this is where the movie starts getting weird. So during his stay on the island, Winslow begins to hallucinate sea monsters and logs floating in the sea. I mentioned the dream. We don't know if it's a dream or not. And I have to be careful how we describe this. He pleasures himself to the mermaid on the scrimshaw. That's weird. You know, it's this little carving thing here. And Winslow is bothered by a one-eyed seagull, but Wake warns him against killing it under the superstitious belief that gulls are reincarnated sailors. So a little bit of mythology here. One evening while dining, Wake reveals to Winslow that his previous wiki died after losing his sanity, while Winslow reveals that he is a former timberman from Maine who is stationed in Canada and now seeking a trade. He used to chop down trees, and now he's doing this. We have our first argument now. So they're arguing about the floor here. So Wake comes in and he says, you need to sweep and mop the floor. And he looks at him and he says, I've done it twice. Like it's clean. And he's like, well, I'm looking down and I see stuff on it. And he's like, well, that can't be because I cleaned it and I cleaned it twice. And then he starts, going back and forth with them. And he's just like, I don't care if this, that, the other. It's like this big long-winded thing.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I don't care if I tell you to lift the boards themselves. I don't care if I tell you to take the nails out of each board. You're going to do it.
Right.
And like, again, it's just very much like, hey, what's going on? He goes, I've done it multiple times. And it started to make me doubt Winslow for a second. I'm like, wait, did he do it? Because I was like, Wake is coming at him pretty hard. Like, nah, man, don't argue with me. You didn't do it. You're lying. And he goes, no, I did. And then you have Winslow who tries to claim like, look, man, I've seen really filthy places and this is horrible here. Like, I can scrub this all day. It's not going to be 100%. He's like, no, it doesn't matter. And again, we just have this tension between the butting of the heads.
Yeah. There's another scene where Winslow's painting the side of the lighthouse and Wake is in control of the pulley, dropping him down. And it almost feels like he was doing it on purpose. It does feel that way. At the rope. He's like, hold it steady. I'm trying to paint. I am up, and I'm just like, hold up. This isn't safe. This man could die. And he falls. It's bad. Right. Exactly. He falls. And it's meant to be funny, obviously. But like all the paint goes on his face. And then who's there at the bottom waiting for him? The seagull.
Seagulls, man.
The seagull bothering Winslow at the bottom. We got another scene, another weird scene. Winslow goes up to the light. He's by himself. And I think it's one of the nights where he kind of spies on Wake because Wake disrobes before the light every night. Yeah. So he kind of like, I got to see what's going on here. And there's like this ooze coming down. Yeah.
At first I was very concerned with what it was. But then it's multiple things of ooze. And I'm like, what? Right.
Like we're not going to say what we think it is, but there's like, it could be a number of bodily fluids, let's just say, coming down, and then all of a sudden you see what's causing it, and it's a tentacle. It's it's just this tentacle, and it's just like, and then once again, we get a quick cut. He wakes up again, after this. So movie's getting weird. Each passing scene, it's getting more and more weird. So the day before the scheduled departure, so now it's time for Winslow's torture to end, because he has been getting verbally and mentally abused by this man for all this time. So now he's thinking, okay, fine, I served my duty. It is time to go. Winslow, the day before, he discovers a dead gull inside the cistern, bloodying the drinking water.
Yep.
and he is attacked by the one-eyed gull. But then he is so mad because he was drinking water inside,
Yeah.
and when he went to drink the water, he sees all this blood. You know, apparently, it's black and white.
Yeah.
So I read that that Eggers used like Hershey syrup.
Oh, I believe it because it is like it's dark. It's dark and
Yeah,
like
yeah. So
it
that
looks
way,
dark.
when he
Yeah.
drinks it, it tastes like Hershey syrup. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Not a bad deal. That's not
yeah,
bad.
yeah, exactly. So when he goes and he sees it, he's mad. But then the one-eyed gull comes back. He grabs it by its head. And he does an incredible hook
Oh,
to it.
dude.
Just
Dude.
slams it. It's brutal.
It is. It's brutal. And you just see like every single hit, there's blood. It's just blood splatter, blood splatter. And like he destroys this thing. And at this point, as you're watching it, you're like, oh no. Because again, of the warning is like, hey man, it's bad luck to kill a gull. He tells me, he's like, it's bad luck. And he goes, why is it bad luck? You know, they say the souls of dead sailors are in those gulls. And it's just like, so when he did that, I was just like, oh, this is not going to be good. And it doesn't take long.
Right. And this one gull in particular, has been a thorn in his side. It's been bothering him. But on top of the fact that he's been getting abused by Wake this whole time. So unfortunately, buddy, he took it out on him.
Yep.
And I read it was a puppet, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but Pattinson goes all in. It was almost
dude,
like
he goes ham
all
with
these
it.
weeks of frustration. He's gonna take it out on this poor gull. And then finally, you know, it's just like, oh no, you know. So the movie definitely doesn't just shift. It kind of sits with you, like he just made a big mistake. So
Yep.
Alrighty.
The winds, you actually see like the winds change.
Correct.
Like they show like excuse me, what do you call that on top of a roof?
Oh, I used to know what that was called. Yeah.
It's north, south, east, and west,
Yeah.
but I forget what it's called. But that on the roof, you see it shift, and the winds go from one direction, and then the arrow just goes whoop, and it just stops. I'm like, wow, like it literally, the winds have literally changed.
Right. Absolutely. All right, one moment, please. We're just going to pull up our next scene here. So we got a chilling.
Oh, dude, this is so creepy. This scene. Oh my god,
it is. So you're looking at a screenshot of who we would get to know as the mermaid. So, so the wind drastically changes direction, as Ricardo stated, and a fierce storm hits the island. Winslow and Wake spend the night getting drunk and eating lobster, and the storm prevents the lighthouse tender from collecting them the next day. So because of the storm, the person that was supposed to get them didn't show up.
Can't do it.
As Winslow empties the chamber pots, these are the toilets, people. This is where they do their business in. So he has to carry it far enough out to the shore so he can dump it.
Yep.
And as he dumps it, some of it gets back on him.
Yeah.
And he gets mad. He discovers the beached body of a mermaid, which you guys are seeing, which waves and howls at him. So let's break this scene down here. This is super disturbing.
Yeah.
So he goes to see if this woman is alive. She's covered in seaweed. She's partially nude. He's like, is she okay?
Mm-hmm.
He moves the seaweed. He sees that she's, partially nude. He runs his hands down her side, and then he sees the bottom portion is a fish. It hits him that she's a mermaid. Now, at the time, I would assume, myths were a lot. People kind of believed myths a little bit more back then. There was science. It was the late 1800s, but people.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's a little different.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm kind of stitious. So, so he's like, "Oh crap, that's a mermaid," And then, to your point, you said this off the air. She starts shrieking like a siren.
A siren, dude.
Yeah,
it's
It hits him that he's the mermaid. She wakes up laughing and continues shrieking. I'm with Winslow. He doesn't wait any longer. He books.
Yeah, dude. It takes off.
Yeah. He starts running as fast as he can. Then A little bit of sound design. All we hear is the shrieking combined with the
Mhm.
foghorn yet again.
Yeah, that
The fog,
foghorn, dude.
the foghorn never stops for the course of the movie. It
No,
just, keeps
the
blaring.
foghorn is its own character in a way.
Right.
Like it's just constantly there. And this scene was so eerie because like she washes up on shore, and obviously he takes a moment when he wipes seaweed out and sees a beautiful woman. So
Right.
it's like, oh, and then as it goes on, it gets progressively scarier. Like you see her gills on the side of her body. So you see the gills, and it's like, oh my God. And you see the fin, it's like, oh my God. But that shrieking sound is so ear piercing. And like she starts laughing, but it doesn't feel, it's not comforting at all. It's very maniacal in a sense,
Right.
like almost laughing at him for whatever reason. And he runs and she's just shrieking and laughing, and then you had the foghorn at the same time. I didn't see this in the theater. You did. I
Oh
wish
yeah.
I did, because I can imagine that sound design in the theater.
I remember when I got out of the theater and I sent you a message about it. I let you know it was a very loud movie.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
very loud. Just that foghorn was so loud. As far as the movie goes. I don't know what Eggers was trying to do with the mermaid. I mean, did he combine the siren with the mermaid? I don't know, but
Yeah, because usually they're two different things,
right,
right? Like you have a siren and a mermaid,
right.
but it was like a combination of the two.
Yeah, and I mean, they're known for being very beautiful. Both are,
Yeah.
and she's very pretty. But the way that he framed it, it was just very disturbing.
Yeah.
The way the mermaid acted, obviously. So he flees back to the cottage. Oh, by the way, I looked it up. The device at the top of the house, it's called a wind vane.
Wind vane. There we go. Now
A
we know.
wind vane. We got there, people.
Now we go. Okay.
So Winslow flees back to the cottage, where Wake informs him the storm has spoiled their rations. Winslow is not worried because he thinks the tender is only a day late, but Wake says they have been stranded for weeks, not just a day. Here we go again.
We get into that territory of like, what is real at this point? Because again, he mentioned that the previous person that was stationed with him lost his mind. Goes, hey man, I've seen it. Guy lost his mind. Bad things happen. He cracked. So when we had the situation where Wake is like, no, it's been 2 weeks. And then he asks Winslow, he goes, how long have we been here? And like, how long ago was this? And it's just like, it starts to make you question as a viewer, like, well, wait a minute, has it been 2 weeks? Are we being deliberately left in the dark so we feel like Winslow, or is he losing his mind? You know what I mean? Like you don't know. You just don't know.
So you're questioning, it's only been a day. How has it been weeks? And Winslow tells him, you're just trying to scare me, and Wake just comes back again. Look at ye pretending.
Yeah.
So Wake is so convincing that it makes us wonder who is telling the truth.
Exactly
what is happening here. The pair unearths a crate at the lighthouse's base that Winslow assumes contains reserve rations, but it is full of bottles of alcohol, just a bunch of alcohol.
Nothing but liquor. That's it.
So Wake tells a story of how scurvy changed his leg. And then Winslow calls him out and says, I thought you broke it.
Yeah.
You're saying scurvy changed the way you walk, but earlier you said you broke it. So Wake says, you must have misheard.
I was like,
and now I'm like, oh, you're gaslighting him.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening now?
Yeah. Have you been gaslighting him the whole time?
Yeah.
Or am I now being gaslit into thinking?
Yeah, like is it us? Like I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Like I'm like, wait, are we interpreting things wrong? Or we, like, you know what I mean? Like we don't, like, and that's what I love about this movie. Up at this point, we still don't know. Like we don't know.
Like, is everything that we've seen from Wake a hallucination, or
what's happening?
Winslow mishearing? Exactly. And then he brought up another thing. He says, how could they eat grass with no teeth? What? It's like, you said your crew lost their teeth. You didn't, but they did, and they were eating grass. And he's like, how do you do that? You said their teeth fell out, and he made a joke. He's like, oh, you just shove a big handful of grass,
Yep,
and you
yep,
just
yep.
swallow it, and then they
And just
started
swallow.
laughing.
That's it.
You
Yep.
know. As the storm continues to rage, Winslow and Wake get drunk every night and alternate between moments of intimacy and hostility. We're going to get to that in a moment here.
Yeah.
I am going to share another screenshot here, and you guys are going to get a little treat here. We're going to do a little bit of a reading from the script. So
yeah,
you're looking at there's one big blowout. There's few, but there's a blowout scene here when they're super drunk.
Oh yeah. What?
Yeah. So he asks him what he would like to have, and he's just like, "Oh, I'd love a good steak.
Yeah.
I miss having steak." And then he takes it personally. He's like, "What? You don't like me cooking?"
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Wake takes it super personal. The man was just saying he liked the steak, and then all of a sudden he was just like, "No, I don't like your cooking." And then he's just like, "Take it back, take it back, take it back." So there's another fight later on, which we will get to, but we're going to have a little bit of a reading right now. I'm going to put this away. I am going to be playing Winslow. Ricardo is going to be playing Wake. And, this is a really cool monologue, and I thought that Ricardo would be great for it. So we're just going to do some reading for you guys here.
All right, let's do it. You're fond of me, Lobster, ain't ye? I seen it. You're fond of me, Lobster. Say it. Say it. Say it.
I don't have to say nothing.
Ah, damn ye, let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow. Hark. Hark, Triton, hark. Bellow bid our father to sea. King rise from the depths, full foul in his fury. Black waves teeming with salt foam to smother this young mouth with pungent slime to choke ye, engorging your organs till ye turn blue, bloated with blige and brine, and scream no more. Only when he crowned in conch shells with slithering tentacle tail and steaming beard, take up his finned arm, his coraltine trident, screeches banshee like the tempest, and plunges right through your gullet, busting ye. A bulging bladder no more, but a blasted, bloody film now, and nothing for the harpies and the souls of dead sailors to peck and claw and feed upon, only to be lapped and swallowed by the infinite waters of the dread emperor himself. Forgotten to any man, to any time, forgotten to any god or devil, forgotten even to the sea, for any stuff or part of Winslow, even any scantling of your soul is Winslow no more, but is now itself the sea.
All right. Have it your way. I like your cooking.
This whole scene is so fun. It's such a, I don't know if it was intended to be funny. It has to be, because it is a funny scene, because it almost sounds like for a moment, okay, so they've been drinking, et cetera, et cetera. They ask him about the food, and he goes, "Oh, steak." And he goes, "You don't like me cooking?" And he doesn't. And it almost feels like a bickering couple, like when they've been drinking too long. Because, "What do you mean you don't like my cooking?" He goes, "I don't like your cooking. Your cooking's terrible." And he's like, "You don't like it?" And he gets so offended.
Yeah.
So offended that he cuts this mean monologue about all the terrible things that's going to happen. He's going to be nothing. He's going to be forgotten. He's going to be tearing apart, blow to his body's going to be this, forgotten to the sea, nothing no more. And I love that Winslow's like, "All right, have your way. I like your cooking." You know what I mean? Like, it's just so funny.
We're going to come back to that monologue later on. Just some of the trivia as far as the movie goes. It's really cool stuff. So one night, Winslow tries unsuccessfully to steal the Lancer room keys from Wake, and he contemplates murdering him.
Dude, he pulls a knife out, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh.
Right. It's like, he doesn't have any food. All they're doing is drinking alcohol,
Yeah.
Winslow later sees the one-eyed head of Wake's previous wiki in a lobster trap. So now that's making him think like, oh, what happened? Like, did Wake kill him? So now he's getting, paranoid here. Get another scene here. They get super drunk. They're chugging the liquor like it's water to the point that it's spilling all over them.
Oh, yeah.
They sing and they dance, and then it cuts again to them slow dancing and moments away from kissing.
Dude, they're close.
Yeah.
Like, they've been drinking a lot, and you can feel it. Like, they're completely resting their head on each other's shoulder. Like, they're just, exhausted. They're dealing with whatever they're dealing with. And like there's that moment, where they kind of pull apart, they make eye contact, and they get dangerously close for a second.
Right. When I was watching the movie, I said, well, this is going to take a turn in a second.
Yeah, I was like, are they going to do this? Like, what's going to happen?
Right.
Like, yep.
And then they, Winslow pushes him away.
Yes, shoves him away.
And then they fist fight for fun.
Yep. and then like, look, man, there's subtext there that you can pull on that thread. The situation at hand where it's like, hey, I don't like Winslow's very much like, no, we're not doing that. But he wants to be physical.
Right.
Like and they're rolling around, they're fighting. Like again, there's a lot of thread to pull there.
The very next scene, Wake is cuddling in Winslow's arms.
Yes.
So we're back to intimate here. They're just like laying down there.
It's this weird way of being like, hey, they didn't have sex, but it's the next best thing. They tussled, they rode, they fought, and now they're cuddling after.
Right.
Like it was like this weird way of, again, it was like Winslow being like, no, like rejecting that idea of like, no, but
right,
I'll roll around with you a little bit. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it was interesting.
Very odd. So while drunk and cuddling, Winslow confesses to Wake that his real name is Thomas Howard. So we have a confession here.
Yep.
And he assumed the identity of Ephraim Winslow, his crew foreman in Canada, whom he deliberately allowed to drown during a log drive. Howard has a menacing vision of Wake accusing Howard of spilling his beans. You told too much. You said too much. So Pattinson finds himself tied up. He sees somebody tied up, and then he realizes it's himself.
It's himself. It's wild.
They both look behind themselves and then see a naked Wake sneaking up on both of them, ready to attack with a blunt object. He runs to the dory to try to leave the island, but Wake appears and destroys the boat with an axe. After chasing Howard back to the lodgings, Wake claims it was Howard who chased him and hacked up the dory, as Howard was driven mad by his confession. So now we're back again to what are we seeing versus what is really happening. And at this point, the first time I saw it, I said, okay, now I'm starting to think like, are we doing like a dream reality? Are we doing hallucinations? What are we doing here? You know?
Yeah. Because again, like when he sees himself, it's like, all right, okay. It's like, wait a minute. Like up at this point, it's just been those two characters, right? And obviously, yes, you saw a mermaid and you're going, okay, like he's having a hallucination, whatever. And he sees himself, it's like, okay. And then when he turns around and Wake is like completely nude and there's light coming from his eyes, he almost looks like a lighthouse himself. Like it's so interesting. And then you have the chase with the axe. We as the audience are watching Wake destroy it. But then when he gets there, he goes, no, you did it. You're going mad and you're doing it. And it's like, all right, brother, I don't know what's going on. Like, and it's one of those movies that, again, it's gonna keep doing that to you until the final frame of the film.
Yeah. So we believe Wake is gaslighting him again. Or maybe not. We're thinking, well, maybe he isn't. But now there's some doubt. Is now that we know his name is Howard going mad? He's had visions that were insane up until now. With no alcohol left, Howard and Wake begin drinking a concoction of turpentine. This is the thing used to strip paint and honey. And that night, a giant wave crashes through the wall of their cottage. In the morning, Howard finds Wake's logbook, in which Wake has criticized him as a drunken and incompetent employee and recommended he be fired without pay. Mind you, he's the one that encouraged him to start drinking to begin with, because he was always drunk. But now he's reading all this in there. Wake can't take it anymore. And he goes off on, Howard can't take it anymore. Yeah. And he goes off on Wake. He's done with the stories, the lies. but most of all, the farts. I'm sick of your smell. You stink. Most of all, you are a liar. They talk some more, and then Howard falls to his knees and he starts begging him, please forgive me. All is forgiven. Just let me see the light.
Yeah.
This is a wild scene.
Yeah.
So, by the way, you had mentioned that off the air. Pattinson just goes in, and
Dude,
he made
they're
it.
they're going in.
And then he made it a point. Like, he just felt so beaten down when he said it. And most of all, the farts. I can't stand it.
Gosh, damn farts. Like,
Right.
it's so funny. But like, yeah, in that scene, like, he's just going in, dude. Like, he's just going in.
So the two men argue, and Howard attacks Wake while hallucinating the mermaid, the real Winslow, and Wake as a Proteus-like figure. They flash between the characters as he's choking them.
Yeah.
Howard beats Wake into submission. He makes him bark like a dog and walk on all fours on a leash.
Yeah.
Takes him to the hole at the base of the lighthouse to bury him alive.
Yeah.
Before losing consciousness, Wake describes a Promethean punishment that awaits those who look in the lantern. And Howard takes the keys to the lantern room. Howard goes to get a cigarette, and Wake returns to strike him with an axe. Now it's getting maniacal again.
Yep.
He screams, "The light belongs to me." We're getting pretty close to the ending here. We got one final screen share. Just maniacal laughing from Robert.
Like, this scene, the first time I saw this, I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was so uncomfortable because of the sound design.
Right.
And like, when he puts his hand in there, it's this weird, almost like you're in an echo chamber of sorts, and his screaming as well as the score are hitting at the same time. Like, it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is just nuts. So Howard disarms and he ends up killing Wake. He hits him with the axe before ascending to the lighthouse. Never mind all the stuff that's been happening up until now. Never mind that he just killed a man. All he cares about is this light. I need to see what this light is about. In the lantern room, the Fresnel lens opens to Howard, who reaches in and violently screams in distortion. Every time he screams, you could hear the distortion, the sound design. It's just very, it's muddled. You can't really hear him, And it's maniacal, almost like when you saw Tomlinson laughing at the end of The Witch, the same way The Witch ended. Yeah. Like a mirror there. Two people.
Because like it does seem like when he puts his hand into the light, it does seem like it starts off as like this laugh, like he's hot, and then it becomes like, I don't know if it's pain. It just doesn't feel right. It's very off-putting.
Right.
And he just starts screaming, and nope, not comfortable at all.
Right. So he falls down the lighthouse steps after the screaming scene. Sometime later, so we fade. And then we see another scene. We see a barely alive Howard lying nude and on the rocks with a damaged eye. He himself has a damaged eye. And a flock of gulls peck at his exposed organs. The lighthouse is nowhere in sight.
Yep.
Now, I have read that a theory is that the ship that originally brought him there crashed before making it to the lighthouse, and everything that we've seen happen was a hallucination, a vision of a dying man. That is one theory I have seen. Another theory I have seen is that this just goes along with the theme of the movie. You don't know what's real and you don't know what isn't.
Yeah.
This could be just another vision. We don't know.
That it's one of those things where like the movie's meant to be ambiguous, and it's meant for you to have conversations. So yeah, like that ties in great with that too.
Yeah. So we're going to have our initial thoughts here now, and we're going to do it too, both when you first saw it versus now. So when I first saw it, I put it down here. The question is, what was this movie about? Because
yeah.
when I
Like,
went to
what is
see it,
happening?
I was just like, okay, it's Robert Eggers. It's going to be horror. We know we're going to get some good acting based upon what we saw in The Witch. These are two great actors, Defoe, Pattinson. Hey, let's see what you got.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm just like, well, that was a trip. I have no idea what this was about. I don't know. I did some searching online, and then I never watched it again. And now that I watched it, originally I thought that, like, okay, well, the first theory where he never made it, everything was like, oh, it was all a dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then my thing is like, that's very cheap when a director does that.
Yeah, and that was, and I'll let you continue. But the first time I watched it, that's why I didn't want to go that route.
Right.
Like, I didn't want to go that route the first time I watched it.
I still think it can be done, and we've seen it done in shows and movies where it's done, but in a way like not just as it was dreamed, it was an alternate reality, it was a this, it was a that. They explain it away. It's very hard to do it and get away with it. So then I started looking at, well, maybe these were all just hallucinations of Howard now while he's still there. The food could be going bad, could be, remember in The Witch where we thought they were hallucinating, maybe?
Oh yeah.
They were losing their minds. Another thing again, we're having doubt. Are these people poisoned? Are they hallucinating? Are they losing their minds? Same thing again. So I thought about that again. And then also, back then medicine wasn't as good. So I'm like, who knows? Who knows? So, for me, it was still open. That's my interpretation of the movie. Like, I'm going to go the scientific route. Maybe these are just two people that just started getting so sick that they lost their lives due to the sickness. And then everything that we saw was just hallucinations, and we'll never know what the real timeline was. So that's my explanation. So how do you feel? Your initial thoughts, Ricardo?
It was funny because when I initially saw it, I thought everything was happening as is. I was like, okay, no, this is a reality. And I was like, okay, so maybe the movie is meant to be more thematic. Like, we're going to explore themes, and we're going to, use imagery and art to teach lessons. This was my first takeaway. And I was like, oh, like, for example, the end of the movie, I was like, when the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's his punishment for doing the one thing he was told not to do. Like, not to get biblical or anything, but the idea of like, hey, the Garden of Eden, don't go to the tree, like, don't do that. And he had one rule and was like, don't go to the lighthouse, don't do it. And the movie also focuses on vice. You have the alcohol, you have the sexual deviancy, you have a lot of that playing throughout the movie, and you have that one thing is like, just don't do that thing, just don't do that thing. And he does that thing. So the first time I watched it, I like you, I didn't want to go dream or anything. I was like, nah, for a first time watch, I don't want to feel that. I want to feel like, no, what I saw transpired. And I was like, okay. So the first one, I was like, yeah, so he did what he was supposed to do, and it was something that he couldn't handle. It was like reaching a power that you can't obtain. It was like, no, you can't. He did it, and it ended up costing him. And I was like, yeah, like I was ready to believe in the supernatural, because I'm like, yeah, man, he killed the seagull and everything went bad. So I was like, oh, did Eggers tap into the supernatural realm? I was like, hey, man, like, no, like, it's bad luck. Everything changed. We literally see the winds change. So I was like, okay. So again, I was like, is he using just imagery to tell the story? And again, it's the unknown. Like, it's meant to be ambiguous. It's meant to not known. Now, I will be honest, my most recent watch, I actually started to come around and not give it 100% validity, but I started to come around like, okay, I guess I could see the theory of it being a dying man. I could see that, because like you said, the one takeaway that when I watched it again most recently was the fact that you said you don't see the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like, you don't see the lighthouse. And I'm like, you see the timber, you see the wood, and I'm like, so is this a man that did? So everything that we're seeing, I'm like, is this all like the jumbled memories going through his brain really fast as he's succumbing, as he is dying? All this is playing through. There's certain parts in what we see that are real, and there's certain stuff that aren't real. For example, the story about him letting that man drown, that I'm like, okay, that happened. Like, I'd like to believe that did happen. And a lot of the issues that he has on this island now are guilt. our guilt of what happened, of what transpired, and as well as the idea of him taking that identity to start over, and could be partially the reason why he didn't save him. Because I do think that journal that he finds that says all the bad things about him,
Right.
like a terrible employee, drinking on the job, I think that's real.
Yeah.
But I don't, from the most recent watch, I don't think that's real at the Lighthouse. I think that's why he was leaving the timber job, was all this. He was losing money. They weren't going to pay him, doing this and that. He was he has problem with authority, this and this and that. And then there was an individual that was drowning, and he decides, I could save him, but I'm not going to, because now I could take his life. I can go and move on, and I can start fresh. This isn't going to follow me. I can make money, whatever the case may be. So like there's certain aspects I'm like, okay, that's real, but that isn't. And there's a part in the movie where Wake says it out loud. Like Wake, and I think directors do this and writers do this, where they will like somewhat tease the truth. Because at one point Wake goes, hey, none of this is real. He goes, maybe all of this is a hallucination. He says it, like he flat out says, he goes, maybe I'm not here. He goes, maybe neither of us are here. He goes, maybe none of this is real. Like he like they're having, and I'm like, why would he say that? And again, doesn't mean that's true, but it's just another nugget to give us a viewer to contemplate that being a thing. The thing with the seagulls, why he's so bothered with the seagulls. And I'm like, oh, if he is slowly dying and being picked at by seagulls the entire time, his brain is creating this imagery of being tormented by seagulls. The one-eye seagull, when we find Howard at the end, he's missing an eye. And I'm like, oh, is he the one-eye seagull? Like the soul trap? Like there's all this interpretation. So it gets really loopy. Again, the first time I watched it, I was more like, no, these are happening and it's almost supernatural, like these things. And then after maybe like, this is probably like my 5th time watching it today, I was like, okay, like I can take that theory with a little bit more. I just didn't want to, because again, I do think that the dream can feel cheap. Like it's like, oh, it's all a dream. But if you do it in a way where like, yeah, this guy did let someone die, that's a manslaughter charge. He takes his identity, the ship crash, he's dying, and all this is playing through his head. His deviancy, his guilt, his problem with authority, all this. And the light itself is the sun. Like the lighthouse is the sun. And he's so eager to just open his eyes again, because his eyes, like he's dying and he's just so eager. And his mind is kind of like saying, don't, because once you see that, you know what's happening now. Like you're waking up from the dream. Like what was that? Ocular Rift from Black Mirror? No, it wasn't Black Mirror. Love, Death, and Robots. You remember Love, Death, and Robots?
Yes.
Ocular Rift, where she was like, I don't want to wake you up from this dream, because if you wake up from this dream, I can no longer protect you. I can no longer keep you in this fantasy of whatever, where you're not feeling pain, where you're not doing this. So there was a part of me that was like, when Wake keeps telling him, don't go to the light, it's literally that. Don't go to the light. Don't. Because the moment you go to it, it's you opening your eye and you're leaving this fantasy. It's kind of like the mind is giving him this place to like die.
Beyond the Aquila Rift. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
It reminds me of that, where like,
yeah.
So it makes me feel like Howard is in his own rift, that his mind is creating this atmosphere to help him as he slowly die, but because his brain is riddled with guilt and all this stuff, that it's fighting itself like a vanilla sky, like it's fighting itself. And like that's why Wake also has the same first name. They're both Thomas, and that's why like it's like his brain is like, no, I'm Thomas, and he's like, hey, and I think that's why he's also like, don't spill your beans to me, don't confess your sin. Once you like, it's like you're like once you confess, like, oh, I'm about to die. I need to confess. I need to. It was like he was like, don't do that, because if you do that, it's over. You will. That's it. You wake up, you die, and you come to the realization of what's happening. So that's my new one, and I know it's all over the place.
That's all right.
But that's like my new take after the newest watch.
It's all right. Thank you for sharing, Ricardo. That was great. Thank you so much. So. And now I'm second guessing what I thought.
That's what I'm saying. Like it goes either way. Like
right. So I looked it up here. This is Eggers. So there were versions of the script that were too clear. So director Robert Eggers' goal was to make the audience go mad and become confused. like Thomas Edward and Ephraim Winslow. So the final script turned out to be more confusing for the audience. So the point, if you are confused after watching this movie, that's what Eggers wanted.
That's what he wanted.
So this is what he wanted. Let's move on here to the box office and the Oscars. This is super low budget. Another A24 movie here. We have 11 million was the budget, and the box office less than stellar, 18.3 million. So went totally under the radar here. As far as the Oscars go, people talked about maybe one of these performances. No nominations, no nothing during award season. It did get nominated for a best cinematography Oscar here. So the other nominees, so we have The Lighthouse, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joker, The Irishman, and then the winner, which I loved this movie. The winner was 1917.
Oh my God, what a movie.
Yeah, the movie that's framed as a oneer.
As a oneer, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it's not a true oneer, but it's framed as a oneer.
It's not. It's framed as a oneer, and I kept trying to. There were times I couldn't catch it at all. I was like, wow, that was a good cut.
Yeah, but best cinematography, 1917. However, good stuff. We got Robert Eggers, an Oscar nomination there. Let's move on to a little bit of trivia here. The scene where Willem Dafoe's character gives the sea curse to Robert Pattinson's character because he doesn't like his cooked lobster was shot in a single take. According to director Robert Eggers, Dafoe didn't blink for over 2 minutes. So they just shot it one take.
It's crazy because like the camera angle doesn't move. Like it's so locked on him. And now I didn't even realize he doesn't blink, which is incredible. He was locked in, dude. He gave that monologue.
When asked to describe the movie, director and writer Robert Eggers always used the same choice of words in every interview. Nothing good can happen when two men are trapped alone in a giant phallus.
Yep.
So, all right. The final shot of seagulls swarming over Thomas Howard and Ephraim Winslow's body and pecking at his insides as he lies helplessly on the rocks resembles that of the Greek mythological tale of Prometheus. The Greek gods took away the fire from humans as punishment for disobeying them. Then the Titan Prometheus stole the fire back to give the valuable gift to mankind. The gods were outraged by Prometheus' theft of fire, and so they punished Prometheus by chaining him helplessly to a rock, where each day an eagle was sent to eat Prometheus' liver, which would then grow back overnight to be eaten again the next day forever. So a little bit of mythology there.
Yeah.
Director Robert Eggers on the fart jokes. After making The Witch so miserable and self-serious, I thought if I was going to explore misery again, I would want to be able to laugh at it. So he did it on purpose, clearly.
Yep.
Eggers has a few trademarks at this point, but I liked this one here. The seagulls constantly haunt and intimidate Howard throughout the film. Similarly, in The Witch, farm animals such as goats, chickens, and rabbits haunt and intimidate the family. I'm not going to go into it, but it says also animals are a theme in Nosferatu as well.
Ooh, yeah, that is true.
So we'll get into that when we do that breakdown down the line. Let's show a little love to the cast. Small
cast, man.
Solid work here, yeah. So we have Robert Pattinson as Ephraim Winslow, then found out to be Thomas Howard. We have Willem Dafoe as Thomas Wake. The only other person with any type of lines is Valeria Karaman as the Mermaid. Check out this casting note here. Anya Taylor-Joy campaigned heavily for the role of the Mermaid, but was turned down by Robert Eggers. How cool would that have been?
That would have been so cool to see Anya Taylor-Joy again working with Eggers and then like being the Mermaid. And again, like, yeah, she's beautiful, but that's such a scary scene. That's such a scary scene. And she's
got a unique look.
Yeah.
It would have worked for the Mermaid. So I'm not going to go into the rest of the cast here. I just thought that was really cool about Anya Taylor-Joy. But shout out to Pattinson and Defoe, just
Oh yeah.
solid work.
It it's so great because Willem Dafoe obviously has had a long career prior to making this, but this was one of those roles that Robert was taking to just show his range, and I thought it was so great because again, like, look, it's no secret Robert got a lot of Robert became a household name because of Twilight. That was
Right.
the household name exposure. So a lot of people are like, oh, like even when he was cast as the Batman, it's like that guy, like that was something that people dealt with. So I love the fact that Robert has constantly been like, no, give me the strange roles, give me the weird movies, give me this, give me that. He's done some voice work for animation where it doesn't sound like him at all. He changes his accent for certain films, and I love that. So I give them both credit, and I give Robert credit because again, Robert could have definitely gone down a certain path in Hollywood with the roles that he chose, and he's like, no, give me the weird stuff. And you saying that like they both reached out to Eggers is even awesome. Like that's even better. Like that's even better. And I love that Robert was like, yeah, I want to do that. So yeah, credit to both those guys. Carried the movie, and it's only the two again with a brief moment with the Mermaid. But like at no point are you kind of just like over them as character. You're like, no, you're locked in with them. So that's a credit to just really strong performances from both of them. Even Willem Dafoe, when he's getting buried alive and he's doing that monologue and the dirt is getting in his mouth, like it's just one shot, it's just one continuous take. You know what I'm saying? So again, yeah, those guys crushed it.
Yeah, they killed it. Great performances. Once again, possible snubs. Neither one of them got nominated for an Academy Award. We're going to wind things down with our closing thoughts here. And I wanted to present a question. And this is a question we've asked many times, but is it fun when movies are confusing? Or is there a line, because, and this is beyond an ambiguous ending, because ambiguous endings are done all the time. And I, as an older seasoned movie watcher, I'm actually okay with it now.
Mm-hmm.
It just, because it just depends,
Yeah.
However, when the entire movie is confusing, that's where I don't know if I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
The entire movie is confusing, but it just depends. It's like a recipe. How much are you giving us? How much are you not giving us? And it's just such a fine line. When we look at the other Robert Eggers movies, you see that you question reality and you question what is going on here. And you think of other directors like an Aronofsky almost, where like they just play with what you're seeing versus what is actually happening. I will say this is not a movie I will probably come back to anytime soon. But like I said, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it isn't. What's your take on quote unquote confusing movies, Ricardo?
Confusing movies are very hit and miss. And I feel like confusing movies in general do better on a second watch, because when you watch a movie for a first time, you have expectations, right? You have expectations of the movie no matter what movie it is. And at least whether a movie doesn't meet your expectations, you at least hope the movie will be linear in storytelling or non-linear depending, but just not confusing, like very matter of fact, here it is. So I think like if I would have watched this in the theater for a first time watch, I think I would have walked away very confused, almost kind of like mellow, like not with the unsure feeling. Like, I don't know if I like it. You know what I mean? Which definitely happens. But I think movies like this do better on a second watch and a third watch, because now you already have that in your head. Like, okay, it's a confusing movie. Let's see if I can pull anything out. So now you're watching it differently, as opposed to just watching it and absorbing it. Now you're like, okay, now I'm watching it and trying to pull something out of it, which is why I think like I ended up watching the movie. Like, again, this might be my fifth time watching it, because each time I'm like, okay, well now to me, it's an assignment. It's a project. What do I pull out of this now? What do I pull out of the performances, or what do I pull out from the story? How does my take from the first time I watched it versus now? I think I watch it like in my Halloween rotation, to be honest with you, like when it's October, because to me, it feels like a horror movie in many aspects. So like once Halloween season comes around and I start watching horror movies, the Lighthouse makes it on there. but I do think it does. I, I think you have to have an engaging, confusing movie, because I've
There you
seen
go.
confusing movies where I'm just checked out. Like
Right.
they're not engaging enough. Either I feel like it's trying too hard to be confusing, which is like, what was that movie? Beau's Afraid. Beau's
Yeah.
Afraid. That's a movie that I'm like, okay, one and done. Never gonna watch it again, because it's one of those movies that I'm like, all right. At times, I feel like things were confusing for the sake of confusing, and like at some points, I was like, oh, do I want to analyze this? And I didn't feel like I really wanted to. But with certain confusing movies, I'm like, okay, like a movie like Annihilation, I was confused.
There
I was
you
like,
go.
ooh, but I kind of want to dig into that. This one, Lighthouse, I was confused, but I love the atmosphere. I like Eggers a lot. I like the performers. I like the performances, and I was engaged the entire time enough that it made me question what was happening. Is he losing it? Is he insane? Is this supernatural? There was enough there for me to chew on to keep me engaged. So by the time it ended, even though the ending is kind of like, what? The second time, I'm like, okay. Third time, okay. So it definitely depends. It depends on the script, the writing, the directing. But I don't think that any confusing movie can work. I think there's got to be like a little magic to it.
Yeah, and each director has their own trademark,
Yeah.
like and a lot of people feel like if a movie's deep, it's just confusing. A lot of
Yeah.
people feel like if there's artistic liberty, it's confusing, so it's each level of confusion is different for
Yeah.
the person, like some people say, oh, that movie was too deep for me. You hear
Yeah.
that line a lot, so
Like I think Memento is an incredible movie, and there are
yeah,
people that are like, "Oh, it's confusing because it's backwards,"
right,
So for them, it's confusing. Like
right.
it depends.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, for some folks, it just makes the movie, if it's not a straightforward movie, it makes it fun. But for some people, they like a straightforward movie. It just all
Yeah.
depends on who you talk to. So, all righty, folks. That was the Panel Bros official breakdown for Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. If you could please give us a like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, we would appreciate it. The more you interact with us, the more it helps our reach. If you could also comment below, let us know how you felt about the Lighthouse breakdown, you would help us out by doing that as well. Folks, this was episode 97. We are getting very close to episode 100. We only have 2 more for Robert Eggers. Our next one is The Northman, and then Nosferatu. So we're getting there, and then episode 100, which we're not going to reveal just yet. We got something really cool cooked up for you guys. It's going to take some time to get there. We're going to record and take some time to edit and such, but we're getting there. Please stay tuned. We just got to get through this, filmography before we get there. So stay tuned for that, folks.
Oh, yeah.
For Ricardo Segura, this is Anderson Marchak saying thank you for coming to the panel.